is Anfield. Henry, last time we spoke, 9, brilliant run of form. Then we lost 4-0 to you at Anfield. Since then, things haven't gone brilliantly for Liverpool, though.
No, to pieces, I think is the correct saying. Yeah, from sort of being top at Christmas and winning 7-0 at Crystal Palace, everything at that point. I think, hearing some people actually giving us the title at that point, and just the manner in which everything has gone wrong is incredible, to be fair. I mean, I think there are reasons behind it without a doubt, but I don't think anyone's sort of foreseen it being like this, and to lose 6 home games in a row is just, shouldn't happen in any era, depending on, even if they're relegation threatened, under Roy Hodgson, that shouldn't happen. So, yeah, just a remarkable period where they have just completely fallen to pieces for various reasons.
We're talking about eras there. I think, wasn't the last time Liverpool lost 6 home games? I can't think of it is, but
I think so. If not, it might actually have never happened. That might have been 5 in a row, possibly. So I think this might be 6 times for the first time ever. So it's pretty bleak.
I guess you put it down to injuries. I know, obviously, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, a huge loss, and obviously everybody that's gone along the way since. And I know Wolves fans would have been keeping on people like Diogo Jota, who's only just returned from injury as well. How do Liverpool approach one? Because I suppose it's difficult when you're out of form to get back into it.
I think in terms of the season as a whole, now they've got to approach the Champions League as taking precedence. I mean, with playing Leipzig tonight, so I think a lot in terms of the Wolves game coming up, a lot's going to depend on what happens tonight. And I think if they get through, I think focus then does have to start switching to the sort of European games, and sort of accepting that we've got nothing to play for in the league, and they must become just sort of training exercises for bigger games. In terms of just tackling the whole issue, I just think it's the toughest period of Klopp's reign, and the toughest period I've seen for many years, because the players do look shot mentally and physically. And it is because of the injuries, the options aren't quite there. A few people have returned recently, but I think it is a case of they've just got to try and play through it. And just there hasn't, despite the Anfield record, which is appalling, they've actually had some good away days recently, which sort of people tend to forget, that they've beaten Tottenham and West Ham, Sheffield United. I think they've beaten all 3 of them in the last month. They beat Leipzig away, even though it was in Budapest, but it was the away leg. So it's not been terrible every single game, but there is just a confidence crisis at the moment that I think you can only get over really by just playing through it and having faith in yourself. But at the moment, they don't look like getting through a consistent run of games without another disastrous result happening.
I was talking to a Liverpool fan at work the other day because I managed to find one, because they'd gone into hiding. I didn't know why.
Yeah.
But they were saying that there seems to be this idea that maybe the players have been there and done it, won the Champions League, won the Premier League, and that's them done. But compared to the Manchester United side under Ferguson and that successful era that Manchester United have, where they always wanted to be better and better and better. I mean, does that fall under Klopp's activity in the transfer market? I know obviously you can't envisage injuries happening, but when you look at who Liverpool sold in the summer and then an injury crisis, do you think they go hand in hand a little bit?
To be totally honest, I think, and it's sort of, no rival fan wants to hear it, because no one likes to hear other fans making excuses for their own shortcomings. There's a lot of things gone wrong, but I do think everything is ultimately down to the injuries. I think the whole narrative at the moment of Liverpool peaking under Klopp, has he taken them too far? Has he run them into the ground? And this sort of thing, I don't think we'd be talking about this if we didn't have our 3 best centre-backs out for the season, 2 of whom have been out since October. We've had, you mentioned the transfer activity, which at the time we brought in Tsimikas, who's barely played at left back, to be a backup to Robertson, and then Thiago and Jota, who have both missed about 3 months each. So sort of the 3 new signings have barely played for a big majority of the season. So immediately that's had a big impact. And then you can throw in the likes of Alisson has missed. Trent had COVID. Henderson is out at the moment. Fabinho out. I think ultimately that's the key to all this. Is that I don't think we'd be talking dropping off. I think they'd be right up there with Man City again. I'd be a lot more worried about everything that's going on if we had Van Dijk in the team, Gomez, we'd had Thiago in the team for 4 or 5 months, and Jota, who was flying before he got injuries. I get why other people are saying, I totally get it. And everyone would be fit now, and we would still be sitting 7th or 8th in the table. But I think I would judge Klopp a lot more if it was happening in a different scenario, especially with no fans and everything like that. It's a weird old season. That's everything that could have gone.
It's a long season, is it, with injuries? Obviously, Wolves have had their problems this season. Raul Jimenez being the main one. Daniel Pedent as well. This Liverpool game, and we look at a starting 11, and I know that from Jurgen Klopp.
Realistically, we've got a 5-day break, so that shouldn't make it. And then after that, we've actually got nearly 3 weeks without a game because of the FA Cup and then the international break. So I think would mean Fabinho at centre back again. They've missed him. I think the options in midfield at the moment to allow him to be at the back, probably with Kabak, who's coming in and looked pretty dodgy, if I'm honest, since coming in. But he's been signed. He's better than Nat Phillips. And I think if you've bought someone in, you play him over a lad who's, to be fair, given his all and that's all right. So I would expect Kabak and Fabinho to be at the centre back, Trent and Robertson as usual, even though they're a long way short of their best at the moment. And then I think Wijnaldum is a certainty in midfield, very consistent. And Thiago, I think, is also likely. And then it would be one of Jones or Keita, I think. Keita's come back from injury now and was probably one of the few slight bright sparks against Fulham. So I'd expect to be back tonight. So I think it would be a toss-up between one of those two. And then Firmino's carrying a bit of a knock at the moment, so he's probably out tonight. So I think and his form's been woeful for probably a year now. Maybe Salah down the middle, Mane to the right, and Jota to the left, assuming between now and Monday there's no more injuries.
Score prediction?
We've been better away than we have at home, and I know Wolves obviously haven't been firing like Liverpool. I think I'd probably score draw. I think
score draw. Wow, what a change! And just finally, do you think you'll make the Europa League this year?
I hope don't. I'd rather have no European football and have a week between games if we can't play in the Champions League.
That's fair. Well, Henry, thanks for joining us. Best of bad luck, of course, for Monday night.
Cheers, Sam. Take care.